Now, 2010 is a pivotal year for sports. The FIFA World Cup aside, we have the Commonwealth Games in New Delhi coming up in October, and the Asian Games in Guangzhou in November. And don't forget, the big one in Singapore, the inaugural Youth Olympics here from 14th to 16th of August. And in those games, swimming and athletics will traditionally take center stage. We know that our men have qualified for the Asian Games and the Commonwealth Games 4x100 meters relay after running a superb 39.82 seconds at last month's Southeast Asian Games in Vientiane, Laos. Now, that's the first time in the history of Singapore athletics that a Singapore quartet has gone under 40 seconds. And I like to immortalize them now. Gary Yeo, Muhammad Alfi Mustafa, Lee Cheng Wee, and Muhammad Amiruddin Jamal. And we're delighted actually to welcome one of the forerunners, Gary Yeo, to SportsZone.
And alongside him are two of Singapore's fastest men of the 90s and early 2000s. They ruled the tracks and provided a rivalry we've not seen in a while and created headlines as well too. Both and our sprint coaches, let's welcome Hamkah Afik and Muhamad Hosni.
And for our final guest, he's been making steady progress with our jumpers since he arrived here in 2004. He's from Russia, and he's our national jumps coach, Valeri Obidko. Let's get it right. It's not Valerie, it's Valeri Obidko. Welcome to SportsZone. I'm going to start with Hamkah because we have lots of picture of you weeping tears of joy in Laos. You know, you were so emotional, perhaps even more emotional than the boys. Now tell me, Hamkah, how big is this record, you know, for the 4x100 meters relay?
Well, I think as you can see, you know, after we broke the record and we set history, you know, the guys has been given a lot of limelight for the past 4 weeks or so. But let me tell you that, you know, when I first started running in 1989, 89 was my first SEA Games, and I've been to 8 SEA Games. It's always been my dream to see the Singapore 4x1 team to break the 40-second barrier, because we've been trying it for years, myself and Hosni in the 90s, or even before that. Before me was Harun Mundir and Tan Ngakin way back in the 70s and 80s. So the team been trying for in fact more than 3-4 decades, and it's very emotional for me because you know, it's like a dream come true. When I first took over the team, you know, I believe that this thing can happen. You know, I believe that it's possible because other teams have done it, Thailand have done it. So, you know, we are very confident. So we work on goal-oriented to work on what needs to be done to break the 40-second. That's what we did.
Well, Hosni, tell me, how difficult is it for a quartet to run such a time, given that, you know, our two best runners only managed to finish 4th and 5th in the 100 meters final? From your experience.
It's quite difficult because there's a lot of technicals involved, and there's a lot of training. It's just not only your 100-meter training. It's more like 4x1 relay passing batons training, and they have to be really focused because they have opponents like Thailand and Indonesians are around with them.
Well, Hamkah, I'd like to ask you this then. How did the boys do it? And there must have been plenty of fine-tuning for boys before the SEA Games.
Okay, let me tell you, I have to go a little bit more technical just to get you guys to understand what's going on. You see, for us, based on their individual timing, I know my fastest is only 10.61, 10.62 among the 4 runners. So what we do is we work on the relay skills, because the relay skills is something that over the years we are lacking. You know, we have people running 10.3, 10.2, but still cannot break the 40-second barrier. Why? Because the relay skill was not there. So what I did was I focused on the relay skills, which is you know, I aim at 3 seconds. 3-second relay skill is really very good. And what we did at the SEA Games was we managed to come close to about 2.8 seconds. So very close to where my target is. So because we are able to reach 2.7, 2.8. And that is why we are able to break the 40-second with even 10.62 as my fastest. I mean, you know, if I'm not mistaken, if you take a look at 2001 SEA Games where Malaysian had 10.3 and 10.4, but they only run 39.83, their national record, but they have 10.3 and 10.4. I don't have 10.3 and 10.4, but how do I do it? It's all working on the relay skill, because you must understand, the 4x1 itself, the relay itself is an event by itself. It's not something like, oh, it's just you're 100-meter runners, you should run the relay. Relay should be trained like an event itself. Like how you train the 100, how you train it's an event itself.
Gary, you were one of the 4 runners. describe the feeling of running that race? I believe you were the opening leg, right?
Yeah. Okay. At the start of the race, we were actually quite determined to actually improve on our last SEA Games performance. So as to speak, so we as we look at the other teams, we actually thought that we might be able to actually bring back a medal. And at the start of the race, there was some headwind, so we were given the freedom to improve on the steppings, by our coach. So Hamkah, so as to speak, so I actually asked Alfie to cut down on the stepping.
Right. So you guys were able to sort of join up a bit.
Yeah, it was a gamble because the headwind actually changes.
We're talking about the changeover, the change of the passing of the baton from one leg to another.
Yes.
You ran the first leg, the second, from you to Alfie. That was a brilliant change. I was watching the race at the stadium, and Hamkah.
Well, I think as what everybody say, it's a brilliant pass, I mean, but from my point of view, after watching the videos more than 20 times, I think the first exchanges was perfect, but second exchanges was not as good as what we want, and the last exchanges was safe. So what do I mean by that? If I say that first exchange was perfect and second it's not as quick as we want and the last is safe, it means we have rooms and rooms for improvement. So basically, even if the individual timing is gonna drop and we can work again on the relay skill, anything is possible. We're looking at 39.50, and I don't back on my target.
Well, that's not too bad. Hamkah, I need to clarify your role as well, because at the club level, these four boys were under a different coach, and you took over in the national setup. How does that work?
Well, I think it goes the same like, for example, soccer. You can represent all the club in S League all over Singapore, but when you come for training with the national coach with Radi, everybody have to turn up and everybody got to take instruction from Radi, because he's the national coach and he got to make a decision. So for me, when I first took over, I believe that over the years why we failed is because the team spirit was not there. Okay, that's the first reason. The second reason is because during my time we don't have sports science and we don't have all these technical issues, technical aspect to help us. But over the years, I mean, from the last year I work a lot on the team spirit and I work a lot on the relay skills. So that's where we are now.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, let's bring Valeri into the discussion. Well, you were in charge of the jumpers. How would you grade the performance of our jumpers at the recent SEA Games then?
The recent SEA Games, it was a bit disappointing because Stefan was all the way at the third position, and in the last jump, the Licano from Philippines jumped him. Yeah. For Matthew, it was a good outing because he broke his own national record, 7.62, and it was first SEA Games for 18 years old. So it was a good experience, and the season for them was quite good, except of last competition at SEA Games. Stefan finished the season at the 14th position among world juniors. He's number 14 in the world.
Superb. Well, you're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and we've turned our spotlight on athletics this morning with a focus on what can be done to ensure our track and field athletes have the best chance to excel. I want to go back to our national jumps coach, Valeri Obidko. Now, you've had 20 new national records and 18 new national junior marks. So is it the national? It's the other way around. 18 national records and 20 new national marks since you arrived here in 2004 and taken over the coaching here. Now, what does that say about the potential talent pool that we have here in Singapore?
We have potential talents in Singapore. But we have to work more on development stage with the primary schools. What SABLA is going to introduce this year after Youth Olympic Games, we are going to grassroots, and we are going to help schools that don't have athletics and coaches education as well.
Now, I want to go back to the SEA Games.